Now, as you know, Labor's new emissions standards are designed to force all of us into electric cars eventually. EV fan and climate change minister Chris Bowen loves to spruik this stuff. Here he was last year.
The average EV consumes around $400 worth of electricity each year. And they're extremely efficient because they don't generate much heat or sound at all. So a switch to an EV would save around $2,000 per car for an average family.
Now, one journo and motoring expert has done the hard yards for us, travelling 3,000 kilometres up and down the east coast in a Hyundai EV. Richard Blackburn is News Corp's national motoring editor, and he joins me now to share his experience. Thanks for joining us, Richard. I love reading the piece, and to be honest, I thought the EV did better than you expected. Like, to start with, you head north from Sydney, you go 400 kilometres. Yep. Up to Port Macquarie, no problems. First drive before you have to charge.
Yeah, no, it did. I guess the benefit of that is that they're more efficient in the city. So I had 80 k's of city driving to get on the board, and then when you get onto the freeway, it's not as good. You're losing about 30% of your range if you're travelling at 110 kilometres an hour.
That's something in your article that surprised me. And a lot of people might not realise this. I certainly didn't. Driving the electric vehicle around the car, you actually get a higher mileage than when you're on the freeway, which is the opposite, of course, to internal combustion engines.
That's right. It's a hard thing to get your head around because if you were driving a car in the city, it's using regenerative braking. So what's happening is the motor's going into reverse and charging the battery. So you're actually getting recharged on the run in the city. But of course, when you're on the freeway, you don't stop and start, and you've got all that drag from wind and whatever.
But you had a lot of trouble. It took too long to charge, and you're waiting for people, and there's broken charges. Now, some of this stuff gets fixed, all right, when they put in more infrastructure, which will happen gradually. But how much of this is just always going to be a bugbear?
Well, you're not going to fix people's behaviour. And one of the things I found was that there were people on there that could have got off and could have let me on that didn't because they wanted to go to 100%. And of course, between 80 and 100%, the charging slows down dramatically just to save the battery.
Yeah.
So here I was sitting there trying to be polite to someone.
85 is enough.
Another
Take
20
off.
minutes. Yeah, exactly. But people get their head around it eventually. But yeah, you're very much at the mercy of others and infrastructure.
I've heard there's been a few cases of charging station biffo, a little bit of charging station rage.
That's right. No, I think that's going to. I think that's going to be an issue, especially around the holiday periods. I noticed I was looking on some of these apps, and there were people talking about their experiences, and around Christmas it got pretty feral. So.
Now, I love a road trip, right? I love a road trip anywhere. I do most of them in Australia, but now and then if I'm overseas, I'll have to hire a car and go for a good drive. But if you're worried about the car running out of battery and the distance on the open road especially, I mean, I want the air conditioner on, I want the music cranked up. I mean, do you have to worry about that stuff?
Well, you can get better range, and the Hyundai will actually tell you how much range you're losing from having the air conditioning on. So turn the air conditioning off and it'll go up, the range will go up about 20 or 30 k's, turn it back on and it goes down. So you do know that, but I was travelling with my wife and my daughter and there was no compromise on air conditioning.
Yes or no? Would you rather do it in a petrol car?
I would rather do it in a petrol car, but I enjoyed doing it in a electric car. So there you go.
You got a good job driving around and doing that stuff. Right. I wouldn't mind a job doing road trips. No. Thanks for joining us, Richard. I really appreciate it. Richard Blackburn there. You can see that story in all the News Corp papers over recent days.